That's just like being administered a sedative and then having it take you under. Just, you're out. That's it. Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Hunter Loves Voiceplay podcast, Geoff edition. I am back with another episode. As I was going back and forth about which one I was going to do, this one has been standing out to me for a while now. So get cozy, light some candles, drink your beverage of choice, and let's go on a journey. An unexpected journey into the Mines of Moria with Song of Durin. Now, I will admit, I had absolutely no idea that this song had even existed. But Hunter, you're an LOTR fan, you should have known. Yes, I should have. But reading for me is a challenge, even though, I read script almost all the time. But reading a physical book is not going to happen. If someone could recommend a good audiobook system that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg, I'll look into that. So, second confession. I have not read the books. I tried, but my brain got overwhelmed, and sure enough, those books have sat on the shelf getting dustier and dustier. Anyways, enough about my borderline ADHD, thank you. We're here for Geoff. So, Song of Durin is considered a poem written by Tolkien, who pretty much was a fella who was that student in class who wrote extra stuff for extra credit. Golden boy, let's just say, but incredibly talented nonetheless. I have read a handful of his poems, and I instantly get transported into this outer realm, and into his world of Middle-earth that resonates so heavily with the world. As for the movies, Peter Jackson, bravo. I have my critiques about The Hobbit, but I will keep those to myself. I'm getting off track. Okay, Song of Durin. How many times have I said this now? Too many. The dwarves are back. We got Kili, Fili, Thorin, Bofur, and the newest addition, the handsomest, most bearded dwarf around, Gimli. And the beard is no joke. I cannot even fathom how terrible and how hot it was for Geoff to wear, given to what state he lives in. He lives in Florida, mind you. Like, oh my god. Thank God for air conditioning. Never mind the layers of costume and armor Kathy picked out. I mean, so, we have to blame Kathy for this, don't we? And the helmet and axe were both custom-made pieces. So, there's a fairly good amount of Patreon cheese going towards that, and I couldn't be happier to support that. So, I'm glad to spend money towards those types of things. And can we just give Geoff a round of applause for just sitting through a mere 9 hours of makeup and costume and then filming throughout the day? I could see in the BTS that he was getting to be pretty exhausted near the end of it all. I know there are others that have sat for longer periods of time in makeup, but Geoff still deserves recognition. I just think anybody who can sit there and be still and have people airbrush you either head to toe. I mean, this was kind of minimal airbrushing. But, Geoff has been a person that he's been covered head to toe with makeup. So it's I don't think I would have the patience for it. I don't think so. Rick Underwood deserves recognition for this. He was just fantastic. They've been booking him overtime. I swear. Because it's was Be Prepared, Song of Durin, and then the newest one that's coming out pretty soon. Oh my god, he's racking up with money. So, kudos to him. Let's get into the arrangement, shall we? So we start out with a water drop that instantly tickles the ears. I absolutely love it. It's just ooh, I like this already, because it's just ding, ding. Setting the scene for us being in the mine, discovering Balin's tomb, as you can see in the background. Took me a minute to realize what that was. Shush. Then there is this sort of ethereal type hum that draws you in before Geoff has even opened his mouth. Very clever, very, very cool. Gimli is sort of the lead in this one. New character, new lead, new vocal, sort of. Because when you have 5 other dwarves, it's you gotta give somebody the lead, right? This arrangement is harmony heaven. Oh my goodness. I've said this before, but not only does Geoff manage to tell the story or create one with these not only in a visual sense, But even without the video, your imagination just goes. At least mine does. You know, like sometimes I will take a moment with an arrangement and I will just close my eyes and I will have my ears do the work for me. And really, like, I will try to have my ears and my mind do the visualization for it. Even though by this point I probably already know the video inside out type of thing. But when I'm sitting there, it's just like, this is so fun. Because sometimes it's like I kind of want to put myself into the shoes of somebody else who either has limited vision, limited hearing, limited, whatever. Just to kind of get a feel for like what their world sort of is a little bit. I mean, of course, I'm never going to fully understand that ever because I do have good hearing and I do have, but just to take a moment and just to visualize it in a different way always makes me appreciate it more. I love that Geoff starts off with Gimli alone, as the song poem was written to be read and sung by the character, but Geoff brought in the others, which was a nice touch of symbolism as well as sorrow for Gimli. The others fade in slowly, and by others I mean the dwarves from The Hobbit, which I think is a perfect crossover. The bass notes are never overused, which I know in some bass covers that are out there, not specifically Geoff's. They merely bass it to death, and then you lose the initial feeling of the piece, and then you're just sitting there listening to a bunch of frogs. It's not really my style. There has been a couple of covers of Song of Durin that I checked out, and I'm like, okay, it's like I see that your vision was there, but it's like, vocally, I don't know. I mean, I'm definitely not a musician, so I can't critique other people's work like that. Anyway, yeah, thank goodness Geoff is always storytelling arranging, which I love so much. It's like, no matter what he does, he just does, like, there's the beginning, there's a middle, and there's an end, and there's characters, and it just, it's just like the plot's there, and it's like, you don't get lost in the arrangement. Like, there's something either in the arrangement itself or in the video itself that you're just like, oh, I can see this from both ways. I can hear the story, but I can also see the story. Which, Geoff has always said that that's like the hardest thing to do, is video-wise, it's very difficult to bring up that world and realize, like, how do I want to go about doing it? And so this is Geoff's favorite part, and it's mine as well. We get into the middle, which, I would probably, like, it's this, I think it's like the second or third verse in the song itself. But I would kind of consider it the bridge, because it is kind of like that middle ground in the song, right? Not the bridge of Khazad-dûm. That was awful. That's a bad bridge to be on. Just don't do it. But Geoff brings up the tempo in this section, and it is everything you could have asked for. We have a very nice sort of Celtic drum sound in the back, which, as you listen, it's the perfect accompaniment to his description of Durin, and the way he built the harmonies in this section, so beautiful. It's like you could just pick them out with just like a chopstick. Like, it's just like you could just hear them so clearly, and they don't, the way that he stacked them, I would suppose, it just makes it so easy to hear everybody without overlapping anybody else. I mean, I wish I could learn how to do that somehow. Maybe I will someday, hopefully. Like, he could have just kept that solemn feeling going throughout the song, but Geoff decides once again to change it up. He decides once again to change it up and bring a bit of life to the piece, which is ironic because every character except for Gimli is dead. So, yeah. In the two verses that depict him in tempo, it's more dramatic as it is describing who Durin was. The regal, mighty king who ruled over his domain with strength, and sure enough, Geoff hums us back down into the sorrowful tale that speaks about Balin's tomb that rests in the one fine city of Khazad-dûm, which is no more. Obviously, if you've watched Lord of the Rings, you understand that it's like, yeah, orcs came in and they wiped out everything. They wiped out the entire civilization. Pretty much dwarven genocide, if that's even a thing, which is, awful. And Thorin and the others sing us away to the end, where we have Gimli by himself once more The others fade away, which I love visually because you realize, oh, they're dead. Not only do you have the light on the tomb, which was such a great touch, but you also have the dank darkness of the mine in certain shots, and it's just like, woo. And Gimli's looking around at like, this is what it used to be in Durin's day, but now there's nothing but decay and death and rubble. Quite gut-wrenching in the eyes of a dwarf. Like, like, all of it, like, one day you're living at the highest of your life. Like, you're just, there's no worries, there's no fear, there's no nothing, and then something just comes by and wipes it out. Whether it was a dragon, whether it was orcs, whether it was the world that you knew was gone. And it's just, it's terrible. I've always had a soft spot for Gimli for that reason, because it's just, man, it's so sad. I love not only the characters that Geoff manages to look all different in some form, but it is his arrangement style that is always so cinematic, especially with these sorts of pieces. I know he gathered inspiration from Clamavi De Profundis, I hope I'm saying that right, which now I have fallen into the rabbit hole of their content. I understand. They're pretty amazing. If Peter Jackson was looking for someone to cover Lord of the Rings music, I'd say hire them, because, they're definitely worth it. I also was served a video a couple days ago of the infamous John Rhys Davies, the actor who plays Gimli, a reading he did of the Song of Durin, which I got teary-eyed at. He's that good. The man speaks from his diaphragm like no tomorrow, and it's just like every word, his pronunciation with his Welsh accent is just incredible. And like, by the time I was done watching this video, I'm like, I have the goosebumps, because this is like, just because it's so incredible. For him just to speak it is just one of those things. Pardon me as I clear my throat out of spit, snot. It's cold in here today, so my voice gets a little bit more ragged, I guess I would say. Yeah, and then once we get close to the end, it's just like there's just so much that happens. And once we just really slow down, and then once we get to like the end part that I used in the beginning there, it's just like, oh, it's just right in your eardrums. It's right in the back of your head. Like, you're just in love with it. And it's just like the perfect conclusion to it, because it's just like till Durin wakes again from sleep. And it's a very mournful song, really. Like, it's a very mournful poem. Just talking about Durin and then Khazad-dûm and how Balin died. I don't know if it's Balin or Balin. Balin? I don't know. I always call it Balin. Well, I go with how they pronounced it in the movies, and it's Balin, so, don't give me much flack for that. But yes, of course, Killy is my favorite, obviously. I love Killy to pieces. But then once I see Thorin on screen, I'm like, hello. And as much as it goes for Gimli character, I'm gonna be honest. The first time that I saw him come on screen, I kind of giggled to myself because I wasn't expecting Geoff to go all the way. And when he went all the way, I was just like, I'm like, he is the tallest dwarf around. And that just, seeing his Gimli character, I had to giggle to myself, because I was like, okay, he definitely went all the way, and he's just like the tallest dwarf that I have ever seen in my life. Yeah, I was very proud that he, brought Gimli to the screen, but I just had to, I had to laugh about it. I'm sorry, I had to laugh about it, because it's like, it's probably just a look that I wasn't expecting out of Geoff, obviously, like the prosthetic nose. I mean, what's even more scary is if you're watching the behind the scenes on Patreon, you get to see Geoff with orangish eyebrows and the prosthetic nose, and then his, like, you know, his color of hair, and it's like, ugh. It's kind of terrifying, but anyway. And then, of course, you know, you have Rick taking off the prosthetic nose near the end, and it's like, ugh, creepy. But yes, that is Song of Durin. And before I throw my voice out and I lose it entirely, I think that I should wrap this up. You know, go check it out. I can't make any comparisons between Misty Mountains and Icy Fire because each of them are just, like, unique in their own style. Dang it, I just cannot fight this off, whatever this is. Yeah, like, all of them are unique in their own way. Song of Durin really kind of brought more life to the trilogy of dwarves. Geoff and Kathy, they just did a tremendous job. Yeah, and that's all that I can say about it. And, you know, I'm glad you guys came back to watch. You know, sorry it took me so long to get these out. Creative burnout is definitely a thing, and it's taken me up to this point just to kind of be able to make the time to sit down, record, edit, do the thing, do all the captures, put the video together, you know, and it's a lot. And I try not to set deadlines for myself. I do not believe in deadlines for myself. I mean, especially if I'm not obligated to put it out at a specific time. So that there's always that. So, you know, like I can do it on my own fixed schedule or where inspiration arrives, I should say. So, yes. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, so I will see you guys later. Take care. And as always, give a like, subscribe, and leave a comment of what you want to see next. And I will see you guys in the next one. See ya.